Thanks for checking out my micro drawings channel. Tonight I'm drawing Scooby-Doo and Shaggy. Got my quarter, pencil, Copic multiliner 0.03 for scale. And on this case, I'm starting with a facial feature like I usually do. I've got Shaggy's nose that I'm starting with there, and then adding his eyes in there. Pretty tiny because remember this scene is going to have, well, you wouldn't know because you're just watching it being drawn. But it's got Shaggy holding Scooby. So Scooby just jumps into his arms because he's afraid of something, of course. So there's the chin line for Shaggy. His scruffy chinny chin hair. There I'm putting on his ear. And then working on his hairline. There's a quarter for scale. And there's Scooby's nose. And Scooby's face. His upper lips going in there. And there's his lower lip, his lower jaw. And there I'm bringing Shaggy's hairline up to him. There I'm going to add Scooby's eyes in there. And just slowly continuing to work here, adding Scooby's eyebrows. Forgive me, I almost said Snoopy there. Hope I didn't before. There I'm adding in his ears. And then I'm just jumping back and forth between Shaggy and Scooby. Getting the hairline in there. Again, using the 0.03 Copic multiliner black pen. It works great because it doesn't bleed later on when I add the alcohol-based marker ink from the Copic sketch markers. There I'm adding Scooby's collar on. And adding the top of his arm, which is wrapped around Shaggy. And in there, I was just adding Scooby's tag from his collar. Adding on more of Shaggy's hairline there. And there's Scooby's, one of his paws wrapped around Shaggy's head, holding on. And then starting to come down the back of Scooby-Doo. There's the lower part of his upper arm, along with a couple of his markings. There's a pencil for reference, for scale. And then adding on the collar of Shaggy. And there's the lower leg of Scooby-Doo. And he's all tangled up around Shaggy, so that just took a little figuring out and making sure I had the right thing going in the right place there. And just continuing to add on Scooby-Doo's legs and his paws, all four of them, all the little, I call them fingers on Scooby-Doo because he's so human-like, but I suppose his little toes on each of his paws. So there's his bottom legs and his bottom paws and toes. There's his tail. There's a quarter for scale again. Got a little big on me. I guess that's what happens when I've got a couple characters in there. A lot going on. So I should have started Shaggy a little bit smaller than I actually did. But once I have him set, then I'm basing everything off of him. There, I'm continuing to work down Scooby-Doo's back and adding Shaggy's hand wrapped around him. Fingers on Shaggy here end up being pretty darn tiny, so I'm just doing the best I can to not have those lines touch each other, basically. And sorry, I had a little snafu with the camera, so jumped ahead to the finished product. You can see that his legs got added. So first I added the blue coloring for his collar, for Scooby-Doo's collar, and his name tag. There I'm adding the green for Shaggy's shirt. I'm using a Copic sketch marker. I'm using the fine tip end of that. And this alcohol-based marker does bleed into the paper some. So I'm being very careful to lightly touch that point right up just to the edge, actually just a little short of the black line, because I can account for it bleeding up to the black line just a little bit. So I have to rotate the paper every once in a while, so I'm using the fine tip right up to the line. There you'll see me rotating it around, working on Shaggy's pants. Again, just pushing that fine tip right up to the black line. And then off to the side, one thing that you're not seeing is I've got another piece of paper that I try the colors out on. I do plan ahead and lay out the colors that I'm anticipating using. Once I do color in, a solid color like the pants there, for example, and the shirt, I might make some alteration in what color I actually use versus what I plan to use, but usually I've got it fairly figured out. So there, this is the dominant color in the whole picture, Scooby-Doo's body color. So again, I'm just working that fine tip right up just short of the black lines all the way around. I'm rotating the paper so that I can just lightly work my way up into those finer points. Sometimes I actually go with a little bit lighter color just to make sure those black lines still show through. In this case, I've got Scooby-Doo's, all his little toes, fingers, whatever you want to call them on Scooby. And I want to make sure those still show. Plus, his arm that's reaching across in front of Shaggy, want to be able to see that, see the dark black line, that distinguishes that as an arm, so it just doesn't get all lost together. Again, just continually spinning it, working that fine tip up to that black line. And there I noticed I'd missed part of Shaggy's shirt. There I'm putting on, I think it's actually a really dark gray, maybe a cool gray number 9. And there I did go over a little bit, so I used the Copic multi-liner just to square that off a little bit. I do have a colorless blender. There's the quarter for scale. I've got a colorless blender that'll kind of dissolve the colors if I make a mistake and go over the black line. But if I go over the dark gray like that, it's usually better to just cover up that mistake using a different method. So there I'm putting in Shaggy's skin color. And then the last piece will be Shaggy's hair. And for whatever reason, I hadn't found this color, so I had to take a little break off to the side and find the color for his hair. There's the inside of Scooby's ears. There's a quarter for scale. Thanks for watching. If you've made it this far, please consider subscribing and sharing the channel. There goes Shaggy's hair. Again, just working it right up to his forehead, around his ears. And there, I forgot to add the big black mark on the back of Scooby-Doo. So I'm getting that. And there's the date, 7/25/20. Again, thanks for watching.